Clariquity webinar for November 2025. Nice to have you all on the call. So today we're talking about artificial intelligence and Nigeria, your survival guide for the future. If you've been on the internet in the last 3 years, you've definitely seen the craze around artificial intelligence. From the launch of ChatGPT in November 2022, in fact, that's exactly 3 years now. The internet has been agog with lots of different artificial intelligence apps. I think after ChatGPT, Anthropic launched their own cloud. Is it cloud? I be cloud. Pardon my pronunciation. Then Google came up with their own Gemini. Then Elon Musk came up with his own Grok, and there been several other artificial intelligence stuff. But in all of this, where are the Nigerian youths? How are we using artificial intelligence? Because I have been using it, and I like to think almost everybody here has been using it. So if you're using artificial intelligence, just put 2 in the comment section. If you use it every day, if you use any AI app every day, put a 2 in the comment section. If you use any AI app, put a 2 in the comment section. Like every day, you are hooked on it, put a 2 in the comment section. Let me start by putting my own 2, because me, every day I use one AI app or the other. Every day. Every day I use at least one AI application. Okay, one of our speakers is even saying that she uses AI as well. I have ChatGPT. Okay, there's ChatGPT. What other AI app do you use apart from ChatGPT? Because lots of people think that AI apps are restricted to ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok. But there are several other AI applications for different things. So you can tell us what other AI app you use before we go into speaking into the main presentation. Okay, you use Perplexity. I think I've used Perplexity as well for research. I don't know if it does any other thing, but I know I've used Perplexity for research. So yeah, it's cool that we all use AI. So today's call is for us to look at how we can get the most out of AI. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter how much you think you are using AI. There is something that you are missing. Like there's a way you can enhance your usage of it and get the most out of artificial intelligence. Many people are using it to achieve tremendous results. And if you're using it to just chat and ask it question about what to eat and different countries and maybe write your essays, you might be underutilizing its potential. So today's call is going to guide you on how to utilize artificial intelligence to the max, how to use it for your work, how to use it for your business, how to use it for your studies in a way that will benefit you the most and turn you into a superhuman. And we have a lineup of amazing speakers. We have Julius, we have Bunmi, we have Daniel, and they are not theoretical people. They use AI daily. They understand this. They are people. They are what we call thought leaders in the space. If you follow them on social medias and Medium and those that have newsletters, you see that they are doing amazing stuff. So you're among the lucky ones. If you notice something, right, this particular stuff, this particular webinar, we did not do publicity like normal. We didn't post the open link for everybody to just see it. The link is reserved for only those that register. So if you do not register via that link that we sent, you're not even going to get the link. We want only serious people, because after today's call, you will be ahead of your peers. Like the extra intelligence that you will add there to propel you. So we don't want this knowledge to be everywhere, so that only a few people will have the knowledge and they will truly take advantage of it. We don't want the markets to be saturated, if you know what I mean. I'm going to introduce the speakers now, and they will begin speaking. So the first person is Bunmi Akinremi. She's already on the call. Thank you, Bunmi, for joining so early. You joined even before some participants. So Bunmi is a machine learning engineer, and she's passionate about building intelligent systems that make sense of complex data. With over 3 years of experience, she has applied Python extensively across neuro-linguistic programming, computer vision, statistical modeling projects with real-world impact in advertising, agriculture, finance, and journalism. I told you guys earlier that if you're using ChatGPT only to ask it what food is best, what country is doing what, you are underutilizing the tool. So you can see how Bunmi is using it across advertising, agri, finance, and journalism. So at Kochava, she develops scalable machine learning pipelines and automates model workflows to support data-driven decision making for global clients. Her reach is global. With artificial intelligence, your powers are endless, and you are very lucky to be on this call today because what you'll be learning will set you ahead of your peers. So her recent research project explores deep reinforcement learning for climate and environmental applications, designing reward-driven agents for sustainable decision making. Bunmi is also deeply involved in the research and open source community. As the she serves on the Pi Data Lagos team as a technical lead, AfriClimate Artificial Intelligence as a steering committee, and contributes to open source projects and is part of the Deep Learning Indaba 2025 organizing committee in Kigali, one of Africa's largest AI gatherings. Guys, you're having some of the industry leaders in AI in Africa here tonight, and you are so lucky. Like, you're going to learn so much after today's call. I think we'll have to do a survey later because you will be succeeding. I'll capture your names and follow up with the success that you've achieved so far. So beyond tech, yeah, I like it. Some people are already clapping for Bunmi. Come on, let's have more applause for Bunmi. Let's have more applause for Bunmi. Beyond tech, she enjoys photography and writing reflective poems about nature every and everyday life. So Bunmi, we're sure you're on the call already. Thank you so much for joining us. And the floor is now yours. You can unmute your mic and speak. Everybody, round of applause as she mounts the podium. Yeah, she's mounting our podium now.
Hi everyone, good evening.
Good
Thank you so
evening.
much for the very long intro and a very warm welcome. I'm super honored to be here today. I mean,
We're glad
I
that you
don't
can
think
join.
I'm most of what you're saying, but so help me
Ah,
God.
you are.
uh, so help me God, really. Um, okay, so today I'm supposed to talk about how you can use AI to like text your life literally. But there's a little bias. Like, this is more like a disclaimer before I start talking, right? And the disclaimer
Okay.
is that most of my work has been into like actually building AI rather than um giving a I don't know doing a sales pitch or a developer relation role. And what that means is that you're probably going to permit my research-centric views, things like that. So I'm just giving that disclaimer. So once you feel like I am beginning to throw grammars that you don't really understand, please feel free to call me back. Right.
We
Okay.
an audience, you've heard her.
Um,
So if you need any explanation, you can just leave a comment mid the presentation so that she can take notice. Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much. So my talk today is going to cover it's supposed to be thought provoking. So I'm not here to provide all the answers because I am discovering the answers as I'm learning
Mm,
every day. And I think that given who we are, like the fact that you're in Nigeria, the fact that you're in Africa, the fact that you're in Lagos or maybe wherever you are, there is just so much to catch up on. And the world has gone beyond just someone using tools to someone actually improving himself with those tools. So
mm,
there is like that gap where, okay, I can use the tools, but does the tool actually contribute to your productivity? Right? And this is a very interesting question because I attended a conference some just a few months ago, and the president of Google Cloud EMEA, so he was basically talking about this where there is fact that you can use tools like Gemini and stuff, and there is also the fact that these tools actually give you productivity, right? And how do you move from I use ChatGPT or whatever tool you use, or maybe Grok, or maybe Cohere, or maybe you're into maybe you're using tools that are more related to low resource languages, like whatever tool you're using really. How do you go from just writing emails to actually being at the cutting edge of technology where you become indispensable. And the reality of the workspace, I can speak of my own workspace where I work, right, is that they've given everybody access to one of these classes. Like the company is paying for it. Like everybody puts engineers, but whosoever you are, as long as you're in this company, you have premium access to this particular tool. And the goal is that we want to see you increase. Like when the idea first came, I was kind of a bit afraid because not like I mean I build these tools, but then I am here also trying to use those tools and integrate it into my workflow, right? And what this means is that something that maybe takes me about a few days, in terms of okay, we have to test the code, we have to run, we have to ensure you can just use AI to just do the conceptualization, and then what you're focusing on is just testing and deploying, right? The place where you're brainstorming and then talking to, that part is sort of gone. And what this means gradually is like my workload is reducing, kind of, which should be a good thing. But then it is a good thing, it can be a good thing. But the other side is that if you don't up your game where you're doing more, so if you're just stuck at I'm doing the bare minimum, unfortunately, you're going to someone else is going to do that bare minimum that you're doing because the person's workload is also kind of halved, and they can just take yours and just add it to the person because companies are looking to maximize, right? So yeah, I think that was a very long, lengthy intro. So this session is more like supposed to help you think, not just about um, what you think these tools are for, but how do you actually apply them to your life, right? Okay, let's get into the talk. Um, what is AI? Quite a number of us are familiar with the term, but I just want to give a more, research side of things. It's a combination of a lot of things. People say it's just math, but I tell you it's not just math. Oh, there's philosophy there, there's sociology there. Because when you're talking about the core is not just about someone being able to derive equations that nobody sends them work for, right? There's also the philosophy behind the thinking. Because what we are trying to create are we're trying to create thinking machines. That's essentially what you're trying to create. A machine that is able to make a decision. It's a thinking machine, right? And when you now begin to boil this down to what do we define thinking as? So there must be an enabler that is something that makes that thinking a process. And then there must also be other factors that contribute to that thinking itself. And that's why it's like there is so much into AI that it makes it hard to say that one part is more important than other part. I mean, there are like the glaring parts where without infrastructure, there is no AI, literally. Without technology, without the GPUs, without the data, there is no AI. But AI isn't just limited to those things. There's like so much more that's contributing to this. I was reading about someone's work on how AI has affected the concept of people's gender distribution or perception. And I think that's a very niche but very interesting topic because it's not something you want to think about. Okay, how is AI redefining people's gender roles? It's probably not something, but I tell you, the next generation of AI that will build and the so-called principles that guide this AI, govern this AI, are based on those research in those very niche areas that are not, they're not popular, they're not fancy, but they are so very important. And in AI now, you have narrow AI, you have general, and the AI we have now is a bit more powerful than narrow AI, but still kind of narrow in the sense that a narrow AI is supposed to be excellent at performing one task, but now you have a single tool, not like a single model, it's like a tool that can do so many things where you can generate images at the same time, you can generate audio at the same time, you can do quite a number of things, but still narrow. And the world wants to work towards having a general intelligence, where it's like you have a one in all sentient being. or like a sentient being, because we actually cannot make a sentient being. We can't give life, but we can try to mimic that life. Right? And the core of how this actually works, thinking of the various modals in which it comes, is prediction. Right? From the days of betting, gambling, casinos, the idea of humans trying to predict what will happen. Why? Because they want to increase their chances of getting something. And I also think that many people don't necessarily think of that underlying factor where the reason AI was created wasn't because somebody wants to do the world good, right? Or the reason of trying to create an intelligence being or put intelligence into something is for a personal gain or maybe a community gain or maybe a society gain. But someone is gaining from these things. Someone is giving you like $1 million. The person is gaining from that $1 million, either quantifiable or not. So yeah, right. And now AI being seen as an engine for prediction, right, cuts across speech. So you want to predict the next word. You want to predict what this person is trying to say, what you're trying to interpret, um, what this person is saying. So even the process of interpreting or translating is still prediction, all the same. So prediction is basically what it is. Those are the very basics, right? I think that as at 2022, everyone was saying data is the new oil. Data is no more the new oil. AI is the new oil, right? Data is now the resource that AI needs. So AI is the oil. Everyone is investing into it. It's like gold, but a digital gold, right? And why? Why? Why is it like the world suddenly wants to throw billions or trillions of dollars into buying data centers or setting up crazy infrastructure? Why? Right? Why? And looking at Nigeria, a country with over 200 million people, we have more than enough data. We have more than enough. But there is a gap between having the data and actually using it, right? And now giving a broad overview of the whole AI thing, for you, how do you use it? These are just like three ways I highlighted, but like so many. For productivity, and when you think of productivity, don't just see it as, okay, I'm going to automate sending emails. That's cool, but like there's so much more than that. Let me give an instance. So one of my siblings is trying to prepare for an exam, and there's like so much material he has to read because he's he's writing an exam for a totally new field, and he has to like catch up on a lot of basic knowledge. So everybody else is thinking of textbooks. I'm thinking of what platform can I build to help this guy to to do like this compilation of past questions that he can just use maybe for like 2 weeks to that exam. So you can see that we're thinking differently. So someone is thinking, oh, we're going to buy, there are these like hard copy questions, and then you just try to read and you hope that you find patterns that would help in newer exams. And then I'm thinking, right, how can I make this guy more productive? He has a very short time to the exam. He needs to cover a whole lot of materials, and at the same time, he needs to ace them. So I'm thinking of, okay, can I just in a weekend just cook up a website that pulls in all these books and then gives him straight to the point questions that even match their marking guide or what they expect and things like that. Like that's productivity in that sense. Okay. And this could also apply to your work, apply to your personal life, applies to things that you just take as mundane and random, right? And clearing these things out of the way gives you time to do the other things that you really enjoy. And of course, creativity. um, I use this a lot when maybe uh, I'm trying to think of an idea. For instance, maybe I'm supposed to give like an impromptu talk on something, and I'm like, oh my God, I know it, right? I know the knowledge, but it's one thing to know the knowledge, it's another thing to deliver the content, right? So how do I move from what's in my head to what's on the paper, right? AI can read, but that's just like a very small concept. It's literally expands like a lot of stuff, and this is really really good, especially when you're on team meetings and you're trying to have a conversation. So someone is on the call introducing a new tool, and you don't want to just be that guy that just says okay, okay, camera on, camera off, right? You go on ChatGPT and then you're giving instead like as if you're one pro, but meanwhile you're just you know you're just going with the flow. ChatGPT or whatever AI to gives you that leverage and makes you really stand out. And everyone just begins to wonder that wow, this person knows a lot. It's not that he really knows a lot, he just knows how to leverage those tools. And of course, freelancing. We all know that CV has gone past the page or the age of you give somebody, you pay somebody to revamp your CV. I mean, AI does all that for you, puts the ATS, but it has even gone beyond CV. If I ask how many of us on this call right now, how many of you have a portfolio page? Maybe very few, right? Maybe very few. Why? Why is that the case? You can literally ask ChatGPT to write an end-to-end portfolio page for you, give it your CV, and it's going to do that for you. Right? You don't need to know how to code. In fact, you ask it, how do I deploy it? What is the simplest way I can deploy this thing? Right? Like you don't need to know how to code to have your own portfolio page um in your own way without using somebody's template. You can literally do that from just ChatGPT. Even a free ChatGPT plan can give you that. So we've gone past the age of a recruiter is reaching out to you, you don't have a portfolio. Like that is so last year, right? And literally what these tools help us to do is it puts us ahead of the game. Like you have a portfolio, someone that doesn't. It makes it easy for the person who wants to interview you, right? Thinking of sending files, person goes look at, just send your portfolio. It has all this fancy stuff. It's more attractive than just looking for one document there to send. Okay, so I hope that we're all beginning to think of how we can use AI to level up our also. And yeah, I think I already kind of talked about this, and I hope I hope that I hope because it's hope because I'm actually seeing the reverse of this in the educational system where people instead of use AI to study, they use AI to cheat. And this is more like the reverse. Like it's literally reverse because the AI that helps to explain the jargons that the lecturer wrote on the board can also help you scale that exam without studying. But who lose at the end? What I also want to talk about is more like an idea of what other international organizations are doing. Okay, fintech and credit has gone beyond. Is this person going to repay? Is this person not going to repay? I was working on a project with a friend some months ago, and what we're trying to build is a system that detects duress. That is, if an armed robber um, if you're like at gunpoint and someone wants you to send all the money in your account, right? How do you guard against that? It's not like they're not existing systems. I mean, there are like a lot of papers saying using a two password, using all sort of things, and but they're not popular because imagine if a thief knows that there is a possibility that this person can use two passwords, where one password use like quarter of the amount in your balance. It's like it will ask you to put the real password or it shoots your child or something. Okay, so um, how do you efficiently guard against that without having to like doing that efficiently and automatically, at the same time protecting private sensitive information? And it's a lot of work, I tell you, because you're dealing with a whole lot of agents, right? But it was such an interesting project. I don't really want to talk about it here because I don't really know. But I think that's it just shows one of the ways you can use AI to analyze not just emotions. You're looking at the person's voice, you're looking at the way the person is typing, because many things can make people agitated or under duress, but you want to be sure that this is under a robbery or an attack or something like that, right? And in agri-tech, I guess you're probably all familiar with that. And in investment banking, I haven't really seen this in the Nigerian case, but I've seen it in I think one of the companies in Switzerland. What they do is that they try to do an investigation. So someone wants to come and onboard their platform, wants to start like an investment portfolio, and they want to run background checks to ensure that this person doesn't have a prior record of crime or something like that, right? Um, there's like tons of paperwork. So it's like trying to know every single information about one person. Imagine the amount of files, right? And this is not, it's not like they're going to ask, of course, they ask you to provide, but then they're also going to do their own background search and stuff. And AI just goes through that bulk in just a few hours, you can imagine. And an often, uh, would I say, bypassed or overlooked aspect is policy. Policy is so super important. And the kind of solutions we build largely depends on policy, right? We can say, okay, skills, we can argue infrastructure, but policy decides if a country upskills or downgrades. Like it is. Of course, there is a part of enforcement, but if you don't have policies that support the growth of something, let's look at crypto, for instance, right? Maybe Nigeria would have been greater if there was like a more positive uh crypto policy. I mean greater in terms of crypto. Yeah. So you see how like policy affects these things and it affects um whether we retain skills. I was reading PwC's year report and I was just smiling because they're talking about the skills they train are emigrating. Please, who wouldn't emigrate? People emigrate for different reasons, not just because they want to japa, right? So imagine I have this very brilliant idea of the future that I want or the future I envision and how I want to contribute to it and I need a lab, right? I need access to certain things, but I can't find them here. I need grants. I can't even apply for those grants because I am excluded by country of origin. Like just because you are from Nigeria, your name is not on the accepted countries list. And that makes people emigrate because would I say, oh, I would wait till Nigeria is better or till Nigeria becomes this, that? No, right? And so immigration is policy also plays a part in terms of skills emigrating. Maybe this is not what you hear every time, but it is. And more importantly, the part that really um, takes me is the idea of digital colonialism. It, it's not something that is nice to talk about, but it's something that is happening. And the fun thing is this, right? Right now in the research community, African low resource language research community, there is this ongoing debate about Africans providing data. So we open source data, right? And we are still paying for the services that use our freely provided data. Like it doesn't make sense. So you use our data to train your models and you ask us to pay a hefty fee. There should be there was this war about IP rights and stuff like that some years ago. It's still probably ongoing, but not as loud as it was before, right? And Africa is like it's like we're being colonized literally. So we produce the raw data that you need. You build solutions on that data, and we have to pay for it. Like we pay for it like everybody else. So where is like that our leverage? Even if you want us to pay for it, there has to be like a massive discount because we provided the resources. They don't have access to African stuff. Yeah. And we really, it's like what we really need to look at. I see a few people trying to build solutions in that area, but there needs to be more on the governmental, more on NGOs, more on people that actually have power to implement. Right? We can always advocate for it, but if we don't really have the power, we can just shout from morning to night. Okay. And yeah, there is also the conversation on data sovereignty. I think I didn't include that here. And I'm not sure that's a conversation Nigeria is ready to have. It's already what the EU is implementing. Our data stays in our country. It isn't going anywhere. And especially now that we are in the world of data, like world wars are no more, we are shooting gun. It's digital, right? if you notice what has been happening, it's like China is really attacking the US digital infrastructure. So today you hear AWS down, tomorrow Cloud is down. This one they have attacked this one. It's like they're trying to frustrate it using the same AI, like the same AI we're all using to enjoy our lives, right? And this is showing if world powers could be playing around with that kind of tool that has such a massive effect, where do we stand in all of this? Like, where are we? And of course, I could talk about the good AI is doing, I could talk about the bad AI is doing, but there is also the part of responsibility, which is really important. And the questions we should be asking is not, can we build it? Should we build it? Should we do this? Should we do that? Right? Because when you begin to deep dive into solutions that sound cool, quote unquote, yeah, you realize that you're risking a lot of safety, right? You want to build an AI system, you want millions of people to use it, and then you have terrible infrastructure. Come on, it's better if you have not even built that system than to put millions of lives at stake just because of your poor security infrastructure, right? There's bias, and of course, we also want to have human beings in. I do not really see a future with robots running everything because robots are not us. You're not robots. Robots are not us. Okay. And there is also that core part of making sure that we have people, we have people, we have people, right? Okay, I think I've talked a lot about the habits, but there is this new term I found interesting, which is AQ. That's your adaptability quotient, supposedly more important than your intelligence quotient. That is how able are you to jump on new things. I gave the example of being on a call with your team and then you're literally researching the new thing they're talking about and you're able to give insightful conversations rather than just being the okay, yes, finish person. Okay. And also, they have also seen this conversation of people saying, I get dumber when I use AI. My question is, what do you use it for and how do you use it? Are you like those who use it to cheat or are you like those who use it to upskill? So I would encourage you to use it to upskill rather than to necessarily use it to cheat. Okay. Right. So what is your own definition of a smart Nigeria or a smart Africa? Like when you think of your country being the country you want, if you're saying, okay, we all want a better Nigeria, what exactly is the picture of that better Nigeria, especially now that we have AI in it, right? And I want to see your definition of that better country. You can actually begin to shape it, right? Um, so this is just like some data that I saw. If you projected, imagine AI GDP, it's crazy. So AI is contributing, is projected to contribute $15.7 trillion to the economy. I don't know if you sat down to look at Nigerian GDP contributors before. Oil, it's usually like at the top, so it's either at top or second, or and stuff like that. And now imagine AI playing a key role. I think it'd be nice. Right. Good. So I've talked a lot today, and over to you. So how do you think you can use AI to solve many of Nigeria's problems? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bumi, for the wonderful presentation. I think let's give it a round of applause. Come on, use the reaction, use the comment section, even unmute your mic and communicate. I know someone was asking a question in the chat, but beyond the questions, talk about what ideas you have for AI. Let's use the next few minutes to just discuss. You can just unmute your mic and speak. If you're in a quiet place, anytime, just unmute your mic and ask your questions with more details so that Bumi can answer.
Okay, good evening, everyone. You hear me?
Yeah,
My audio
Tayo.
is enough.
Yes, you
You
are
can hear
audible.
me, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, so my question was, I just wanted to know the extent of human involvement in AI because today you can wake up today and AI is very humans are still very much involved in determining the capabilities of AI, and then tomorrow we wake up and we find out that AI has actually improved in its autonomous capabilities, in that it can do certain things on its own. And we've heard AI engineers um, make these reports over and over again. So I'd like to know how involved humans are, because we've had cases. Actually, I know of copyright cases where AI um, infringed on actual human artists, their copyrights. But it seems like the court was in a limbo or as to who should be held responsible. There's also an AI artist. I don't know if anyone saw the news. An AI artist, Solomon Ray, that recently topped the gospel music charts. So it seems like we know where the profits will go to if obviously the human beings that created that AI, but where the AI commits crimes, like say driving and all of that, I'm sure we've seen memes too of those situations where someone says, me going to court for a crime I did not commit, but was committed by AI or something like that, or an AI that was a picture that was made using AI, but was a deep fake of me. So things like this, I just wanted to know the the burden of responsibility that is borne on humans, the extent of it, and what the courts and what the developers themselves are doing about it. That's basically my question. I don't know if it's clear enough.
Yeah, it's super clear. I really understand what you're saying because I was in like I say, closed room session with someone from the WIPO. That's the World Intellectual Property Organization. And this was the matter that was being argued, where, okay, first of all, who owns AI generated content? That question is being answered by who? It's going to be answered by the person providing. So if you took your time to read terms and conditions, it states, okay, if the content you create is owned by you or owned by somebody else, right? Somebody has to own it. And the other interesting part is the part about, okay, this is a deep fake of me. I did not say that. And the current laws do not have a guard on that. The current laws that we have does not have, okay, does not identify something as AI generated or not. When you talk about intellectual property, there are bodies that say, okay, what, when they are asking you what inspired, people say a lot of things. Some people say, I got the inspiration from a dream. Some said God told me, but how can you quantify these things? And those are some of the issues, they try to quantify or deal with that for people that want to register intellectual property. And now there is, I don't know if there is now a fine line or like a defined approach to that, because it's not really my specialty, but I can see that it's on murky soil right now. But the interesting thing about anything be generated is that there are always patterns to generation. There are always patterns to generation. It's like someone trying to do cryptography, for instance. You're trying to encrypt something. That is why it can be decrypted, because there's a mechanism. Oh my god, right? And so that mechanism ensures that what someone encrypts can be decrypted. Okay. And so I think AI right now, in terms of generated stuff, is in that space where someone, and that's how we can check if this is deepfake or not, because there is a pattern to its generation. Maybe the future AI is going to try to evade that, but uh, that is still like under an ongoing discourse. So in summary, I don't have a perfect answer, but what I think I have done is that open your eyes to see that these are real conversations that world organizations are actually having. And right now, you go to court and you say, this is deep fake. They're going to be like, what is that? Where is it? It's not anywhere, right? That it's been registered
Yeah.
that this is deep fake or this is not. Yeah.
All right. Erika, I hope that has answered your question. Thank you, Bunmi, for the detailed response. Any other questions for her before we proceed?
Sorry, permit me for I just wanted to clarify the last thing she said. So, are you saying that things like prompts and codes for programming this AI, the people who were behind them will be held responsible? I just wanted clarity on that. I know your answer is not final, and I'm okay with it. I just wanted clarity on this particular part.
That's another very tricky question to answer. Because AI is not a one-man game. So it's not like I just go to my system and just code up something, and then it begins. Of course, that is it's possible, but it's years and layers of research. The conversation about AI has been since the 1990s, like very long. So it's not like AI just came and all of a sudden was here. It has been since I think 1950s or 60s. It's been a while. So who exactly do you want to hold responsible? Is it Alan Turing that you want to hold in the neck and say, oh, you created AI, you caused this mayhem? I don't think that's a very useful approach. Instead, we can look at it at who is providing this AI service. And so someone committed suicide, you hold OpenAI responsible. Why? Because they use their platform. It's your platform that is being used. That is a much more that's much easier to say than to say those who created. Because if you begin to dissect who creates, the person that gathered the data, the person, it's like everybody's involved. Okay, so maybe let's look at who's providing the service rather than who is actually creating, because there are many players in it.
All right, thank you for that, Bunmi. There's something you said that I think Ita asked earlier, but he appears to have abandoned that question. He was asking that what data do we provide to them, because you said that they are using our data. I feel like we can start lawyers in the house, please advise. Can start a lawsuit class, we will call it class action, so that we will get them to waive any fees for us. They're using our data and stuff. Can you shed more light on that? You say we were sharing data. For what data are we sharing, and what possible actions could be taken in the future to get like some form of compensation, either in terms of free usage of all the pro features, or please fill us in.
Giving a direct response to that is more like doing injustice to what the research community is fighting for. So in terms of what data, how do I put it? So let me use Meta as an example. Meta does not have time to come and stand, be gathering scattered data everywhere. Like, they're not necessarily the ones going to be doing the A plus B of all your data that is scattered everywhere. So usually they have fund, maybe they fund somebody, or maybe they say, okay, we're doing a hackathon, not even a hackathon, like we're funding initiatives. Okay, so they fund them to provide this data. Now that you can say, okay, maybe they do have some ownership, but it's not like the data is completely for them, because it's like, how do I put it? Yes, you fund us to do a project, but then the terms have to be clearly defined, because what you find out is that this data that Africans gather, yes, they funded it. Africans don't even have access to that data. Like, after you don't have access, and it's a very prevalent problem in the research community now. They don't have access. That is one. And there's the other part of well-meaning people say, okay, we have low representation. Maybe we're trying to increase the amount of papers or publications churned out by the African community, and then they fund these projects by themselves. Or you have like African funded or African VCs or stuff like that for research. They gather this. They want to make it open to other Africans. But then you know that when it's open source, anybody can use it. And these guys come and just take that data and they use it. And what I'm trying to remember her name. She's this South African professor. Okay, she's Nigerian, but she's a professor in South Africa. And what she has done is she has created a special licensing for data sets for Africans, it's specifically for Africans, where if you use that licensing, they can't just come and use your data anyhow. But there's a lot, because different people in different places are doing different things. So before you have that reach, how do we even protect? And it's not all the data set that applies to. So it's a very complicated. That's why I said that giving a direct answer is doing injustice, because it's a very multifaceted problem, but it's something that we should be aware of the more. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for the explanation. That has helped greatly. And thank you so much for your presentation. I'm sure everyone on the call has learned a lot. I think for me, what has stood out so far is the fact is that AI and policy parts, the role it can play in government to make things easier. And that's one for security regarding bank transfer and those pseudocode stuff. I actually agree. Those things are not supposed to be I think when somebody talked about it once on Twitter, and I think one bank came to say that, oh, they have that feature. I didn't think it was a good idea for the bank to come up there and say that they have such feature. I was like, no, now the bad guys are also on this platform. They cannot come here and telling us that yes, you have a feature, just do this. It's like no. It doesn't do justice to, like, it's defeating the aim, because if they ever catch somebody using that particular bank now, they will not believe your account balance, even if that is the real thing. they'll keep thinking that you have more. Nevertheless, thank you, and I'm sure that everyone else has benefited from this. Guys, please drop nice words for Bunmi in the comment section. Tell us exactly what you've learned. Tell us how Bunmi has added value to your life this evening. See, I told you guys that if you are using ChatGPT only to ask questions about whether rice is better than beans, or I don't know what else you could ask ChatGPT, but you're just using it to do CV, you are underutilizing it, and there are several sectors. So the purpose of this session is for you to get ahead, see, okay, what problems exist that you can use AI to solve, and then you'll get the first movers advantage, and cash out big time in that sector if deployed correctly. Thank you. Moving on to the next speaker, and along the line, let me apologize on behalf of our host, Peter Omomo, who he had an emergency this evening and he could not host the session. He's only the person that is host. So in case you came here hoping to hear Peter speak and you are hearing me, my name is Snumari. So apologies that Peter could not join. I'm sure on our next webinar he will be able to join, and you guys will enjoy his wonderful Master of Ceremony skills and humor once again. And okay, thank you everyone for the comments. Ms. Bunmi, you can see your flowers are being gracefully presented in the comment section. You've touched life this evening. So let's move on to the next speaker, Mr. Julius Olajumoke. Mr. Julius is already on the call. Thank you for joining so early. And a brief about Julius. He's a senior software engineer with over 6 years of experience in building enterprise systems, particularly in fintech, cloud platforms, and AI-driven products. Basically, Julius is in the thing they call new what? Anyways, the new stuff, like he's on the cutting edge of tech, the trendy things, and he has played a pivotal role in developing innovative solutions such as McFi's cardless withdrawal infrastructure and Olife, a cloud-based payroll automation system, significantly enhancing digital transformations for banks and businesses across emerging markets. Julius has also created AI-powered platforms like PromptPal, Fruto, and Creator Bridge, showcasing his expertise in back-end engineering. He has distributed systems, modern API design, passionate about the future of software engineering. He mentors aspiring engineers and serves on the advisory board of Wright International School in Lagos, fostering interest in coding and robotics among your students. He's committed to empowering the next generation of African innovators. He's actively developing AI tools that expand technology's potential across the continent. For everyone on this call, please welcome Julius Olajumoke. Let me see the reactions. Let me see the claps in the comment section. Come on, make him feel welcome. If you're happy to learn from him today, just see, I think his experience is broad from what I've just read. You can see that his experience is broad. And for those here that are particularly students and you've been curious about which side should I learn? I know that sometimes we get into that decision fatigue and we're like, which one should I learn? Which one should I learn? I think if you follow Julius, you would understand what you should learn, which one will most likely align with your personality and will give you the most return. Julius, you can unmute your mic and speak. We're glad to have you join us.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you to the Clariquity team for the opportunity to have this section. Yeah, want to also thank Bunmi for our insightful section too. He gave us the perspective of a researcher, and I learned one or two things as well. So for me, I'll be giving a perspective from a builder. Can everyone hear me? Just to confirm.
Yes, I can hear you, and I'd like to think everyone can. Okay, yes, they
Okay.
are liking the post, so it means they can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah. So as I said, I'll be sharing my own perspective from a builder. So from my background, essentially, I've been privileged to build applications. I tend to look at myself as a builder. I love leveraging technology tools to build stuff. And for the last couple of years, I've been privileged to build applications across multiple domains, mainly in the fintech space, which I've done working with small growing team as well as a startup, as well as banks too. So I've built enterprise application for banks, one of the major banks in Nigeria and across their subsidiary in Africa. So that's for the last couple of years, and as was pointed out, I built a cardless withdrawal, or I led the development of a cardless withdrawal solutions for a fintech startup in Nigeria. Yeah. So AI has been impactful like for the last couple of years, and it's been a buzzword, if it permits me to use that word. And as a software engineer, I asked myself a question: what is software engineering going to look like in an AI era? And a lot of things have changed since when ChatGPT was released, or I think when the first language model was released from the OpenAI team. I think GPT-2 also. Can't very remember, but I remember it was in the um, late 2022, I think November or so, when ChatGPT was announced. A lot of users, they even said they became the first product to have 100 million users within a short possible time frame. I think within a month or two, they had over 100 million users. Because to show you how impactful um, ChatGPT was, or is still currently. So I asked myself that question as a developer, building stuff. There was a time I also worked for a couple of months, worked as a contract staff for a HR startup to build a payroll application. But I just started asking myself that question. Well, what is the role of a software engineer in an AI era? Or um, is AI going to take my job as a software engineer? Because one of the things, the large language models that when they released them, that time, one of the things they tested the capability of those LLMs were the ability to write code and all. Some of the tools that from some of the first tools that were released were tools like coding assistant, peer programming, to popularly they call it Copilot and all, to help developers like speed up their development process and all. And it has grown. So that question was like prevalent for me, like asking myself, is my job going to be taking? What is the role of a software engineer in an AI era? So I decided, okay, if this is going to be for me to succeed as a software engineer, I need to roll off my sleeves. Don't just focus on just bent on learning my normal technical, my normal programming language, both on the front end and on the back end, and feel comfortable. So I need to get myself familiar with this LLM, and so that's what started my journey into exploring AI, exploring what I can do with AI and all. Yeah, so from there I tried out, still trying out, still learning AI, different AI tools, and how I can, yeah, succeed as a software engineer in an AI area. So yeah, so I just wanted to give that intro to just give you a perspective of my journey as a software engineer. Spent a lot of time building applications across multiple domains, but now leveraging AI tools to see how I can, as a software engineer, succeed in the AI era, because if you follow the conversation about AI, you'll be hearing the word, oh, is AI going to replace jobs? And even in developed economies now, they're having conversation like graduates that are coming out, they're struggling to get entry-level software engineering jobs from these big tech companies, from Facebook. They're not like looking to hire entry-level software engineers and all. So they're already leveraging these LLMs to write their code. You hear from some of these big CEOs, they will tell you, oh, AI is writing 50% of our code, is writing 30% of our code. And so the conversation about entry-level guys finishing school, looking at, when they go to study computer science, they want to come out and target these big tech company jobs and get a lot of cash flow and all. So now AI is taking that job. So I have to position myself and say, oh, if this is happening, we don't know. So one needs to leverage this tool to add it to your own workflow and improve and essentially improve your your day-to-day activity as a software engineer. And I say this to say that each and every one of us, maybe you're fresh graduate or you're already in your field, you need to start having that conversation to how can I leverage these tools? How can I leverage these AI tools? How can I leverage them to improve my day-to-day activity, to improve my productivity? Because the truth is these tools are going to they'll be there's no how they'll keep on improving. ChatGPT of 2022 and ChatGPT of 2025, there's clear difference. These LLMs are improving, they are learning more, they are doing more research, you understand? And they even say they're moving to the area of they want to achieve what they call artificial general intelligence. You understand? So the best way one can, shall I say, strike a balance as these tools keep improving is to leverage this to ask yourself, how can I use it to improve my day-to-day activity? Yeah, so I don't know how to say that. So I will want to go straight to my presentation. The conversation I've been given to talk about, or the topic rather I've been given to talk about is future survival guide for Nigeria or Naija and AI. And my topic is centered around from consumer to building African AI system. Yeah. Okay, yes. So before I talk about what artificial intelligence is, I also want to point out something. I believe every one of us, like I said earlier, I see myself as a builder, and I want every one of us to have that mindset too, that we should not just be consumers, we should be creators, because the nature of our creator is in us. You understand? God have created us in his own image. And if God have created us in his own image, we have that nature of creation. You understand? We have that nature of creation. So you should not don't just see yourself as, hey, like I just want to use stuff. I just want to consume stuff. I want you to see yourself like, yeah, I am also a creator. I can create things. And what we'll be going through this evening, we are going to see that I'm going to try point out to you that you have the power to create things with AI, with artificial intelligence. you have the biggest leverage that any human in history has ever had to create things. Yeah, that's I wanted to pass that point. But so let's ask the first question. What is artificial intelligence? We hear that word a lot, artificial intelligence. So I from what I have here, I said is the ability for machines, mainly computers, to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. Yeah, so we see the reasoning, we see AI from even from ChatGPT that we use, you ask it question and see the response it gives. You give a human-like response. That is an example of artificial. That is a, like, should I say, a a front-end level of what artificial intelligence is. It performs tasks that normally requires human intelligence. You can ask it to carry out to do some computation tasks for you. This artificial intelligence handles that for you. And from the front end level, as I said, ChatGPT can prompt you to ask it, oh, do this math problem for me, solves it. It solves that math problem for you, depending on the language model you are using also. The language model you are using to carry out that task or to write or to come up with the prompt you are trying to prompt the LLM with. So I said it also involves learning from data, understanding patterns, making predictions, automating decisions, and generating new content. So AI, essentially, number one part, if there's one thing I picked from what Bunmi was pointing out, talked about data. So it's not that maybe it's just magic. It's learning from data. It's understanding patterns. Due to, I would have loved to show you how some of these how maybe I'm going to give you a reference to a video. I'm going to drop a reference to a video to just give you a deep technical, um, deep down into the technicalities of how GPT works, for example, how it understands data, how it learns from data first, and the how it also understands pattern to come up with responses to questions or prompts. So essentially, it's not magic. It's learning from data, it's understanding patterns, it's making predictions, it's automating decisions as well. So you see there sometimes they will tell you some of these AI or LLMs, mostly the large language models, they hallucinate. Yeah, because of it's based on the data they have, the understanding of patterns and the predictions they are making, essentially. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So before I go deep, I just want to also take us down memory lane on the history of computing so that we understand where we are coming from. I believe when we understand where we are coming from, it's easier for me to point, okay, this is the direction we are going. So this quote, I got this quote. It says, the history of computing is the history of human ingenuity. Essentially, what that means is the history of computing is the history of humans' creativity. Like one man one day sat down somewhere and like thought of something, oh, how can we make our lives better? How can we solve this problem? How can we come up with a machine that can do this task, a mechanical machine, or this, how can we come up with a programming language that can carry out these tasks and all. So that's from that point, it has led us to this point that each and every one of us, we have a smartphone device, which is more or less, people will say before is a mini, but it is more than a mini computer now. It literally does a lot of stuff, you understand? So the history of computing is the history of human ingenuity. Yeah. So I pointed out the various history, the brief history of computing. We talked about the machine age, where we had some of us be familiar with this. These are basic elementary of computer computer history, of course. So machine we have about Charles Babbage, how he designed the analytic engine, and the lady at that we are credited to be the first programmer. You move down, you had the electromagnetic code breaking era. Alan Turing, yeah, people refer to him as the father of artificial intelligence. Yeah, because he asked the question, can machine think? Like he asked that question. Oh yeah, and machine really think, you understand? And from there, they work. And I think Bunmi said something about that. So the conversation about AI started from Alan Turing, mainly, if I'm correct here, started asking that conversation about the ability of computer to think and carry out attacks. So then we had the electronic computer too, although it was big and gigantic then, but yeah, that's another era of computing. So then we had the transistor revolution. The transistor was also a game changer. So then we had the integrated circuit and personal computing era. This literally changed things. So you see the Macintosh. This was driven then by Apple. We know Steve Jobs for that. Steve Jobs and Microsoft. That is what's his name? Bill Gates. They drove like they were pioneers in this era, trying to put a computer on every desk. Yeah. Then we had the internet era. So this internet era, I love to call it the leveler. So it was the moment when access um to the like it gave us access to information essentially. That was the internet era. So the internet connected the world and leveled. Look at the word leveled the playing field. Then we had the mobile. Yeah, then we had the mobile and the cloud era. So now, when the internet leveled the playing field, like it connected everyone, like we are connected together. Like for someone in the US can communicate with, can come on the internet as someone here in Nigeria as well. Then we had the mobile and cloud era. It's also a game changer. So it says every individual now carries, yeah, you can call it a supercomputer in their pockets, yeah, a smartphone device. Yeah. So apps became the new computing platform, and the cloud makes global scalability cheap. So this mobile era was also fundamental because now, when in 2007, when Steve Jobs popularly announced the release of the iPhone, it really changed things because then they did not just release, like, make the iPhone, they also created an app platform where people can also build applications on top of the app platform, which is like the iOS platform now, and also the cloud. So before, for one to be able to stack up or want to launch your website, for instance, you need to first get a computer, set up a server. Yeah, you need to set up a server that then get it connected to the internet. But when the cloud era came, powered by AWS, the Amazon Web Service, it made it super easy for people to build, deploy applications to the web, and not just deploy, and also scale these applications too. So for instance, I don't need to think of like setting up a physical server somewhere for me to maybe run up my first idea. Like, oh, I have an idea, I want to do this, I want to do that. I don't need to start thinking, oh, what's it going to cost me to set up a local server in maybe in my dorm room or in my backyard. You understand? I don't need to think about that now. I need to just get a server, spin up an instance on AWS, then I take it up from there. Then I scale it to whatever I want to build and all. Yeah, so that was also a game changer. Then we came to the era, we are in this era now, the AI and machine learning era. You see, the AI became now the new computing platform. Breakthrough Transformers came in 20, yeah, I think it first came in 2017 when they talked about a neural network. I'm not too much into um, data and machine learning, but then I know there was a breakthrough by some couple of guys, I think in Canada, they came up with their research paper about the neural, they call it a neural net and all. So that's led to coming up with the GPT, understand, learn to various large language models, and yeah, we started having that conversation about, oh yes, we can use this GPT now, we can use it to carry attacks, use it to generate, predict next steps, we can use it to write code, we can use it to do so many things, and all AI systems started coming up. For example, we have ChatGPT, as I said, Now we're even moving further to an era of what we call the agentic AI, autonomous systems. Yes, so agentic AI. So for me, that's a builder, as a technical person, that a software engineer. So agentic is a conversation that we're having. Like, I want to build stuff now. I'm not just writing code. I'm trying to use an IDE. We call an IDE an integrated development environment. Use the agent feature to help me write code. Understand? So that's an example of an agentic AI. Example of an agentic AI and all. Yeah. So that does give us perspective of where we are. So you see that we've come a long way from Charles Babbage down to this era, and you want to say this is the best time to be alive. If you permit me to use that word, because if you see the progress that has been made from the early 20th century, or from the late 19th century to the early 20th century to now, the 21st century, you see the progress that has been made, and a lot of progress has been made. So it essentially gives you that perspective that you as a person in the conversation now should shift from, oh, I don't just want to be an onlooker, just be, oh, these kids are nice. I can do this thing with my AI, I can have conversation. The next question should be asking yourself, oh, what can I do with these tools? What can I, because these tools they will keep on getting better. They will keep on getting easier to, they keep on like solving problems and all. They'll keep on leveling the playing field. And when I mean leveling the playing field, you have the same internet with the person that is in the US. Maybe you can say, oh, the resources may be limited, but from a builder's point of view, you have the same internet with the person in the US. You have the same laptop if you have a MacBook. You have the necessary, essentially, you have the necessary resources to do. Although there may obviously also be some challenges, but to some extent, you have the tools you need to solve problems around you. You understand? You don't need to solve the world's problem, but the problems you see around you. Those maybe can just be a tiny stuff you observe and you feel, oh, these are the challenges you are facing. With the direction we are going, with the tools we have exposed to us, you can pick up one or two problems and try something. You learn from it. It doesn't have to be a perfect solution. You learn from that solution, and from there you grow. So I just wrote out, I'll just try to point out, give a crash course on artificial intelligence. Then I talked about data, I talked about training, and also data. So I said, just like a child learns by observing. So let's just see AI. Just see AI as a child that you're trying to train. So if you are trying to train a child, you need to expose the child to so many things. You need to expose them to maybe a school. You need to expose them to like little things they see around them. Oh, point them, okay, this is that. From there, a child learns. So it's the same thing. You feed the child with resources. You understand? A child can only develop well to to how they expose they are. So don't see it the same way with AI. So when we expose them with data, we improve we essentially, for we to develop an AI system, also you need to expose it with enough data. And as we're not just exposing this with data, it's also train. You understand? You need to also train the AI. It says training AI is like teaching someone, train millions of examples. Because of how limited our time is, I'll drop a video resource that you can take your time to watch. It's pretty long, but it gives you a technical point of view of how, for example, GPT-3 works, to see the idea of the millions of data that GPT is being trained on, to get idea on even now. I think GPT-5 is trained on, I think they said it's trillions. I'm not sure about that, but they are trained essentially. The point is they are trained on large amount of data, essentially. So also we have the model. So the model, let's look at the model as the brain. So for example, you are using ChatGPT now. It has a model, it has a brain. It can be GPT-4, it can be GPT-5. So they have been trained. This brain has been trained. It has a large amount of data that has been trained upon. So it essentially understands pattern. understands a way, it's trained essentially in a way for it to respond to you. We also have inference. Inference essentially just like a training school. Inference is using what you've learned. So essentially now that we've trained the data, it has a brain. When we give it a task, essentially we expect it to do what? To, based on what we've trained it on, we expect it to apply what it has learned. Essentially, if you remember in the earlier years of, maybe if we started using GPT when it was first released, you will see sometimes it will tell you, ask you some question, it will tell you it doesn't have, like, it has exceeded its capacity of, I think maybe its cutoff knowledge is, they'll tell you maybe 2022 or 2023. That is the extent of the data it has. If you are trying to ask it 3 times information, maybe you are trying to ask it adds the AI, the latest is maybe, oh, what is Trump doing today? And all those type of thing, or what is happening in the world right now in 2025. Some of those past LLMs, for now, I think they're trying to, those LLMs, they've improved them so they can almost get accurate, close to latest information essentially. But before, you'll notice they will always point out as, oh, our cutoff period is 2023 and all. So that is it. So then I want us to look at opportunities for Africa in the AI era and how you can leverage, or I can leverage the opportunity. So I find this quote also insightful. It says, if anything, the future will be more amazing than we can imagine. Yeah, so the future, we be amazing than we can imagine. And the point essentially there is, people used to say the best way to predict the future essentially is to create it. I believe with these tools we have, I believe you can actually create things. You can actually develop things. It doesn't have to change the world. It doesn't have to be $1 billion idea and all. Something that maybe solves your problem, something that maybe solves 1 or 2 people's problem, like your friends, your community there essentially. So we want to look at some of the opportunities that this AI provides, and we can leverage them to solve our problems here. So building AI system that understands African reality. So I think this is an opportunity for us to try build tools that understand our reality. And I think I came across a tool a student Unilag built. He called it Yarn and GPT, a large language model that speaks a language model. Let me use the word large. A language model that understands the African language and all. So that's an example of building an AI system that understands our reality and all. And also, you can also build AI systems to do what? That understands our financial systems too. Yeah, because financial system, like I said, I've worked in the finance, like built tools, and some extent I have understanding of how the financial system is in Nigeria, is in Africa in general. Let me don't use Nigeria. Nigeria and Africa. Yeah, but it's clearly different from the financial system in the US. The financial system in Europe is entirely different. For example, here in Africa, we still have large amount of underbanked population. So mobile money comes in place. The privilege to also work in mobile money, and I see the impact mobile money has done in the lives of millions of Africans, not just Nigeria, millions of Africans. So people that will not be able to, that don't have opportunity to open a traditional bank account because of the requirement. Countries in Africa here, the requirement to open a bank account, a roadside person doesn't have it. But mobile money comes in place to help user. You don't need to go through that requirement of going to a bank and opening a bank account. With just your SIM card, you can easily transfer money. So mobile money has been impactful in Africa. And even from the statistics we have of the volume of transaction that happens from the mobile money platform alone, over $1 trillion volume of transaction goes to Africa, like happens on the African continent for mobile money compared to the rest of the world. So our realities are different. So with this AI system, we should leverage it to build into our reality. For example, we can come up with an AI system to better understand creditworthiness of a mobile money user. Maybe the user doesn't have access to a bank account. It's not credit to a bank. They are not credit worthy. You understand? But if we come up with an AI system, we can better understand usage, the financial, essentially creditworthiness of users, folks that may not have access to bank account. Yeah, make them have this some of these financial services. Yeah, so AI also to local industries too. So we can apply it to agriculture, you can apply it to education, you can apply it to health, all of this. So yeah. Also, another opportunity field in AI is our population. Africa is a very youthful continent. You may have heard it, the world is aging. So maybe some other part of maybe in Europe, the world is, they will tell you that the population there is declining. Low birth rates, the ratio of essentially the amount of should I use the percentage of, if you are trying to compare their youthfulness, essentially, you see that it's clear, like compared to Africa, it's like Africa is far younger than some of these other continents. You understand? And you see 60%, essentially 60% of our population is under 25. So that tells us a lot, like 60%. That means it essentially makes sense that we as a continent, we as young people on the continent, we can leverage these AI tools, and depending on depending on how we make use of it, how we leverage it to solve problems, it's going to like be impactful in the next 20 to 30 or 50 years. So what I believe essentially is like the way the direction is, the way the world is going, like African young population is going to have a say in the world stage. Like we are going to have a greater role in the coming decades to play in the world stage. So it makes sense that young people leverage this AI tools, to learn from it, and use it they use it to prepare for the coming decades and the opportunities it will provide. So I also pointed out Africa can leapfrog traditional infrastructure. So I also believe, and one of the reasons that I believe this is the best time to be alive, even as a young African person, is because we can leapfrog traditional infrastructure. So what I mean by that is, so there are some digital systems that we don't have here in Africa. We are far behind compared to the rest of the world. Where you see some of these advanced technology, advanced countries are doing, like you'll be like, wow, we are far behind. But I believe with this AI system, it gives us an opportunity to leapfrog those traditional digital systems, you understand, and come up with solutions that we want, and we change continents, understand, and even impact the world as well. If you remember, like I pointed out about mobile money, like there are less traditional banks, the ratio of banks in some African countries, the ratio of banks to population is very, very low. You can go in maybe a major city in Africa, you may just find just fraction of a bank branch. But we leapfrog that to come up with mobile money. So with mobile money now, you see a roadside kiosk running transaction, doing send and receiving money. Like I can just go to a roadside class. I can go to a roadside money points, money agent rather, and go collect cash from them. Essentially, I mean, some of these things, maybe in Nigeria, to some extent, when it comes to bank, maybe banking in Nigeria has improved, but there are some countries I've traveled to, countries like Guinea, countries like Senegal, countries like Senegal is big developed, but countries like Guinea, like the ratio of bank to the population is wide. Getting a bank, but it's only if you are in the main capital, even if you're in the main city, that's where you'll be able to see banks and all. When we brought that, we came up with mobile money. Mobile money is scattered around now in these countries. Also, we talked about the landline. Please, can you go back to that slide? So let me point out something. We talked about landlines and smartphones. Like when phones were introduced, like we leapfrog that too as well. Um, Landlines now. That time, I don't know the amount of people, just few selected people that had landlines and all. But now, a lot of people, we have smartphones in our pockets and doing stuff and all. So that's an example of how I believe we can, leveraging AI, we can leapfrog traditional infrastructure. Yeah. So I also believe AI creates an entirely new economic class. So the conversation when I was trying to ask myself as a software engineer, like, oh, what's the opportunity this AI pose? Yeah, we believe it's going to eliminate some jobs, but also it's going to create a new economic class. For example, we are going to have prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is like one of a popular field, being able to craft the right prompts for you to get the right like optimal response from the LLMs. Okay, so from which you essentially it creates a new economic class. Just want to point out these various economic classes and all. Yeah. So let's like this. Yes. So some of the tools and you said needed in the in the AI era, essentially. From a from a builder's point of view, I'll just be leading out, like listing out tools I believe we can use. So next slide, please. So some technical skill sets. So from a builder's point of view, like I said, some of the tools. So basic programming or scripting language tools, you can you can pick up, listed them out. And as well as some important AI skills. And also, this is even growing now. Soft skills. Soft skills is very, very important. I won't believe it's even more important than maybe technical skill. Your problem solving skill, being able to ask the right question. No, is also going to increasingly become a very important skill set. Okay, yeah, so I just listed out the tools. So yeah, so as in the process of asking questions about, oh, what can I do with AI? How can I leverage this to build AI to come up with AI? Just essentially leverage AI tools. I decided to come up, I built a platform, although still going through a private beta test. The platform I called Prompt Power. So essentially what the platform does is it enables people to write better AI prompts. So like I said, for you to get like great result for when you chat with these LLMs, like you chat it to ChatGPT, you need to come up with the right prompt. So that right prompt should have context to what you want it to do and essentially pointing it out, maybe if it's a document and some other things. So essentially, the platform enables one to come up with the right AI prompts. Yeah. You can check it out. Yeah, although yeah, I'm seeing private beta tests. We're running it with some QA engineers and all. Yeah. So this quote by Andre Kapati is the thought leader in AI. He says the author's the programming language is English. What that essentially means is now we can communicate with computer in a natural language, but which that is with prompts. So also then that gave me the conviction like, oh, it makes sense. Now, if I can communicate with LLMs, okay, let me now that the new programming language now is prompt. So it's English essentially. So coming up with the right prompt makes sense. So So those are like the conviction that led me to. So let's try out prompt spa. Essentially optimize, refine your prompts. It also creates reusable prompt templates. Understand? And if you also want to work in a team, you create a dedicated workspace where you can create prompt and share it with your team. We'll be notified to round up. So yeah, let me quickly run through the remaining slides. Yeah. So from ideas to products, you're just essentially talking on how you can convert your ideas, how you can convert it to an actual product. So yeah, so I listed out these 4 builders framework. I feel if you like, because as I said, every one of us on this call, we are creators by nature. We can build stuff. So you can adopt this 4-step builders framework. Number one, it does especially to identify the problem. If it's a problem you are facing, or if it's a problem people in your niche or in your environment, a common problem they're fixing, you can pick it up and decide to solve it. Leveraging these AI tools. You build a simple version. You understand? You build a simple version. You get few users to test it, then you can decide to launch publicly. You understand? So a lot of people are doing this today. People that they don't have technical background. You see that they're making use, there's a term they call vibe coding. You just start with, there are platforms that do that, like the Lovable, Replit, where you just chat in natural language. Maybe I want to build an application that does it, that does that, and all. These platforms we spin up the application for you with just your basic prompts. So you can make use of this platform and come up with a problem. Understand? Yeah, of addressing. I even it can interest you that if this like people find your solution to make sense, you can decide to monetize it. Just put a subscription model on the service, and from there, making money. So idea lab. So I just decided to just list out some ideas we can try playing around with. For a start. So I said AI for local financial literacy. Yeah, fraud bank, looking fraud detection, AI content generation. A lot of people do this. And SEO for business, AI for small businesses, automation and all. So these are some of the, I believe, some of the ideas you can just play around with, just get the feel of it, what it means to build leveraging these AI tools. Okay, yeah, so conclusion, I believe AI levels the playing field. What you build next is entirely up to you. So instead of just consuming, being a consumer, yeah, oh, I want to, you can decide to do what, also build your own stuff. The tools are accessible to you, you understand? You can just decide to just let me try out this idea I have on my head. So it's enough of having those ideas now. Like you have a repository of ideas on your head. No, bring them out. Leverage these AI tools, build stuff. Let's see what you can, those things you build can take you to. I guess that's the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Julius, for the session. Like, that was very detailed. I mean, especially I was particularly fascinated by the history of computer and the training. And I've never really taken time to consider how AI works, like that background part of training. Then I used to just think it was one thing. Only for me to realize that there are actually 3 steps before the one that I can tell ChatGPT to write something for me and is able to do it. Thank you so much for that. Come on, guys, let's appreciate Julius for this. And tell us in the comments what you learned the most from this session. Tell us what you like the most about Julius' session. And if you have any questions, you can unmute your mic and ask, or you can just type it in the comment section. Let's even be sure that you are learning something. Let it know that you are here now. Julius has handed you the tools to succeed. Because I know that Bunmi sessions focused on the usage and application of AI, but I see Julius going the route of building core products. So if you ever want to build AI solutions, I think you should watch the replay of this session and fast forward to the section where Julius did his presentation. So you would have been exposed to how you can start building AI tools. In case you are there, you want to jump on this AI trend, but you don't even know how to start. How do I build this? Oh, I have this idea to build AI tools. Like from the two speakers so far, I think you have all that you need from the research perspective of Bunmi to the practical part of Julius. You have what it takes to build AI apps. And the next speaker will be coming up soon. So if you have any questions for Julius, just drop it in the comment section. And I believe our speaker is already here. Daniel is already here. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us so early. We really appreciate that. I'll just read up his profile and then he will speak. So Daniel has Daniel Omajali. He has a master's in business administration. I like to think the triple AI is something around artificial intelligence, and he's a full stack developer. And he's a tech educator. He's a technologist and entrepreneur dedicated to using technology to create meaningful solutions. With a bachelor's degree in banking and finance and a master's degree in business administration, he combines technical skills with solid business background. As a member of the Association for the Advancement of Artificial Intelligence and the fellow of the Young Innovation Leaders Fellowship, Daniel has led innovative projects nationwide, founded Alva Tech Limited, and served as country coordinator at Otukpo Tech Academy, teaching programming skills to students. Wow, I like this already. He's already impacting the younger generations that Julius talked about. He's passionate about digital literacy. Daniel has trained over 300 students and professionals, hosted workshops, and advocated for accessible AI across various sectors. So he has been a keynote speaker on AI's role in national development and developed intelligence software to enhance educational experiences. So beyond technology, he's a talented singer. Wow, that's interesting. And a songwriter, using his gifts to inspire and make a positive impact. Daniel is married to Mary, and he is a devoted father to their son. Wow, Daniel already has a son and a beautiful wife. So, guys, make welcome Daniel. Make welcome Daniel. So, Daniel, you can unmute your
All
mic.
right.
Your
Thank you
presentation.
very much. Thank
We're
you
glad to
very,
have you.
very much. Yeah, thank you.
Have you.
Thank you very much. Hope I'm audible. Can we hear me?
Yes, we can, and I can already see other people clapping for you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So thank you for the invitation, for giving me the stage. And also thanks to Clariquity, thanks to also our hosts, thanks to our speakers as well for the awesome session by Bunmi and also by Julius. Yeah, so I won't take much time, but I believe it's going to be an impactful session, no matter how short. I just want you to stay tuned. For those who are still connected, yeah, I want to congratulate you because you're already on the path, to success in the line of AI. And like I always say, for you to be successful in this line, you have to be passionate because that passion is what will drive you. That will drive you to the peak, right? So today we're going to talk about practical, things that we can look at, not just theory. We're here for survival, real talk about AI, your career and also the future in Nigeria. Yeah, so I think we can dive in. If I can have my slide thrown up, I appreciate that. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so we're going to be looking at opportunities, threats, and how to win in the AI era. How to win in the AI era. Of course, whatever it is that has an opportunity also has a threat, right? We've been hearing about jobs being displaced and all. That's a threat. We're going to dive deeper and also just not just the threats, there's a whole lot of opportunities. So please, I want you to stay tuned. If you've not been paying attention, please, pay attention now and shake yourself and, get lively because we're diving into something really exciting. Yeah, so thank you. What I have today, it's either going to excite you or terrify you, right? Or maybe both. Yeah, but and that's exactly actually where we need to be. but we need to know, you know, the intricacies of the AI, intricacies of the new technologies and all that, and how it impacts our career, how it impacts our nation. That will help us to take necessary actions. Yeah, so let's look at the next slide. Let's see the cold truths. Yes, the cold truths. So let's start with the you know, uncomfortable truths that we have here. We can see that the global AI market is exploding. It's really exploding. If you can see that chart showing up there, you can see the graph moving up. It's exploding. So that's to tell us that even from 196 billion in year 2023, it's projected to reach 1.8 trillion by 2030. Yes, that's the global AI market. When we're talking of global AI market, that's to tell you that the market of AI, you know, how profitable it's going to be. So you can see 1.8 trillion by 2030. That's massive. That's massive. That's to tell you that this is a projected growth. It's not just stopping, it's rising. So this is what expert has projected it to be. So that's almost 10x growth in 7 years. You can think about that. So, but here's the painful truth. What's Nigeria's share in this? We're talking of this is a global, right? This is on a global scale, but what's Nigeria's share in this? Nigeria's share is only 0.1%. Yes, just 0.1%. We're just talking about, you know, this is just crumbs from this multi-trillion-dollar cake that we're looking at. So Nigeria's share just 0.1%, right? So, but here's the twist. And I want you to remember this. There's a quote by, you know, Karim that says, AI won't replace humans, but humans that are using AI will replace humans that are not using AI. Yes, read that again. The AI won't replace humans, but humans that are using AI will replace, you know, this human. So that's to tell us that AI is something that has come to stay. The question now is not, you know, if you will change your career. No, you don't need to change your career. The question is, when will you start preparing, you know, because from this graph that we've seen, we can see that a whole lot is happening and we have to key into the game. Let's proceed to the next slide quickly. So let's look at skills extinction event. Yes, so skills extinction event. Like I said, AI has come and there are a lot of skills that AI is sweeping away, right? AI is sweeping away a lot of skills. For example, if you're a data entry clerk, basic web developer, junior copywriter, or even customer support agents doing basic tasks, I need you to pay close attention to this, because these roles are, you know, they are not disappearing in 10 years time. They are already being replaced by AI. And that's why I'm saying that this also is something that we need to be, you know, concerned about. I was talking to some of my colleagues a couple of days back, and even to some of my students. I was saying that are we ready for this AI revolution in Nigeria? You know, you look at the healthcare, you look at education, you look at, yeah, we have some key players, right, in the industry that are doing great, not to downplay on their effort, but we still have a long way to go. We still have a long way to go. And that's why this webinar is very important for us to key in. Yeah, the Google CEO, he once said that AI is more profound than electricity or fire. So when we're talking of more profound, that means it's more in-depth. So you can see that AI is really the new oil, just like Bunmi said, right? It's the new oil. If you look at that table before us here, you can see data entry clerks already taken over by AI. Basic web developers, give it 2 to 3 years. That's even like Julius said already, it's already sweeping, you know, basic developers, entry developers, entry software developers, you know, it's sweeping into that industry. Junior copywriters, basic customer support. We have chatbots that are attending to queries now, right? You make a phone call today, someone will pick up and you are discussing with a chatbot, right? Sounding so realistic, sounding so real, and you might not even differentiate, or perhaps maybe you receive support emails. These are being automated by chatbots that will be responding to you as if it's real humans. Some of them are not humans, right? So these have been automated. When we talk of, you know, manual QA testers, 2 to 3 years, you know, these roles have been automated. Coming to graphics design, you know, that's something that, you know, it's something that it's happening already, right? of recent, Google just released Nano Banana, Pro, and it's doing heavy magic, right? Time will fail us to start talking about the wonders that that tool is doing. So you can see that it can develop, do your marketing flyers, do graphics, craft logos for you and all that. So it's scary. So when you're talking of design, if you're a graphics designer, you have to sit up, right? You have to sit up and embrace AI because the change is real, right? The change is real. So, but this is not to scare us per se, but it just to let you know that there is hope, right? There is hope. So the good news is that some of the skills will die quite all right, but nevertheless, it's creating a pool of more opportunity. And that's what we're talking about next. Let's look at these skills becoming invaluable. The new Nigeria Tech Guide, AI integration specialist, you can see there. That's number one. That AI. So I want you to pay close attention to this. If you are thinking, okay, what can I do in this AI era, right? What can I specialize in? What skill can I even get to become, to stay relevant? I want you to pay attention to this. Number one, that AI integration specialist. These are people who can take AI tools, right, and connect them to real problems, not just ChatGPT, asking questions and getting response and all that. No, it goes beyond that. How can you take these AI tools and solve business problems, building systems that actually make money, right? You need to, this type of skills, they are becoming invaluable. If you know this skill, you're able to use AI to solve business problems. You're able to integrate it into systems. You are invaluable. Let's look at number two. Number two, there's prompt engineering. And this is simply how you talk to AI to get AI to do what you have to do. Julius made mention of it, at the later part of his presentation. When, it's one thing for you to know AI, it's another thing for you to be able to communicate well with it. So prompt engineering is how well you can communicate to AI to solve your tasks. You can go to prompt AI to an AI tool and say, draft out an email for me, right? But it goes beyond that, because the skill you have as a prompt engineer, how I can tell you there are two persons, right? Give them the same tasks. Someone who is skilled as a prompt engineer will have a better output from the response that they get from an AI than someone who is not a prompt engineer. You will see the difference is clear. The difference is clear. There was in fact, I think a couple of days back, my sister, she needed me to, refine her biography. The biography she sent, in fact, it was sounding so AI-ish, right? So if you read it, in fact, you don't need to be an expert to know that this is something that has been generated by an AI. But with the knowledge I have in prompt engineering, I was able to build a tool that humanizes AI output. I just simply took that, her biography, plugged it into the tool, and lo and behold, it humanized everything and made it feel natural. Added human element into it. I sent it to her. She was amazed. She was like, wow, how did you do this, right? And that's what we're talking about. How can you communicate well to these AI tools to be able to, to tell it what you want, to humanize your output, to get a better response? That is a very valuable skill there. If you can learn that, you are becoming invaluable. Very, 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 very important skills. In fact, this is one of the skills that I teach my students. We teach some lecturers, doctors, professors, and all that, this skill, and they are becoming very proficient in AI, handling AI tasks and all that. And it has really, really enhanced their work. So that's to tell you that people are really, really yearning to learn this skill. So if you can be a prompt engineer, I can tell you it's a valuable skill. Domain expert, right? Plus AI. So that's huge for Nigeria, obviously. Healthcare, AI, agriculture, all this, you can fuse AI into them. No matter, regardless of what your domain is. If you're a tailor, there's a way you can fuse AI. If you're an educator, there's a way you can fuse AI. So you don't even necessarily have to leave your domain. You can still remain in the domain where you are. If you're a doctor, a medical doctor, if you're a lawyer, you can still remain in your domain and fuse AI. Look for problems within that domain that AI, you can introduce AI into it, and you will become invaluable. The next is AI ethics and safety professionals. These are people that, they ensure AI doesn't go rogue, right? They put guardrails, checks, and balances. They prevent cyber attacks on AI systems. If you can master these skills, this is an invaluable skill, right? Let's look at the next, which is complex problem solving, right? AI, needs humans in the equation. Yes, we know that AI systems are getting so advanced and all that, but still yet it needs humans in the equation, because when it comes to complex problem solving, even as a developer, I'm a developer, I build websites and web apps and all that. And there are some tools that can develop, these basic apps for you. And even some are even developing advanced apps, but still yet you still need that skill of complex problem solving. How can you even communicate to the AI to get the task done? Your functional requirements, how can you specify that to the AI and all that? So it involves a lot of complex problem solving skill. So if you have a skill to be able to think critically, solve problems, and I can tell you, you are becoming invaluable. So that is how it should be. The next is human-centered designs, right? There are some designs that AI cannot replicate. So these are what you should leverage on, create experiences that AI can't even imagine, experiences that that goes beyond the capability of AI, human experiences. And that is something that AI lacks, that human experience. If you are able to fuse in that human experience into I can tell you that that's a valuable skill. The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them, in creative ways. So that should be something that you should look at. You don't have to abandon your current expertise. What you should do is to layer AI on top of it. So let's move to the next chart quickly and see the skills demand. So in this chart, I want you to pay close attention to this. This chart shows it clearly, data entry skills. You can see from there, it's dropping from 30% in demand to 5% by 2027. Yeah, 2023 versus 2027 projection. That is it there. Data entry, you can see 20%, it drops from there to 30%, rather, it drops to 5% by 2027. That's to tell you that data entry level, the skills is going to be demanded only 5% by 2027. So if you are thinking of going to, develop a skill in data entry, you have to think twice, right? Look at others there. Basic coding, 70% is going to drop to 35%. But skills like prompt engineering, 40% is rising and skyrocketing. You can see the to 95% by 2027. Same thing for AI integration. You can see it's skyrocketing. Same thing for critical thinking, is skyrocketing. Same thing for domain expertise. These skills are rising. So this is a skill demand chart you have to look at, and now ask yourself the question: what skills do I want to measure in? What skills do I want to, build my expertise in? How do I want to leverage AI even in the domain that I am now? That will give you a guide for the future. Let's proceed to the next slide quickly. Let's look at where the real money is, right? Let's look at where the real money is. Let's talk about the money now. There are a lot of opportunities in Nigeria, like I said, a lot of opportunities. We might be late in the global AI space, of course, we might be late, but that doesn't mean that there are no opportunities. There are many advantages. First, we have EdTech, right? Assuming, let's say, just think like JAMB or WAEC, for example. Now, every year, over 2 million students write JAMB, right? Over 2 million students write JAMB every year. So imagine that you have an AI tutor that is trained on past questions and can speak pidgin English, right? And maybe, for example, and maybe you put it at a cap cost of maybe 5,000 a month. That's like 10 billion market right there, right? So that's massive. This is massive, right? When you're coming to EdTech, personalized trainings, currently now, we don't have, even if we have maybe little personalized training. I was giving a talk in a school some time ago, a couple of weeks back, teaching them how they can, introduce personalized trainings, personalized assignments, personalized coach and tutorship to their students. This is lacking. So that's a huge market. How you can personalize, because every student have different learning pattern, whether we like it or not. Different students have different learning patterns. So how can you personalize that learning? That's right there is a huge market. EdTech, agri-tech as well is also a huge market. Nigeria loses about 40% of crops to disease. You can see that maybe, for example, a farmer can be maybe in Kano or wherever, and takes up his smartphone, take a photo of a maize, for example, and, AI tells him what's wrong with that crop, can tell him that maybe armyworm is what is affecting the crop and what to spray and all this. So you can see that that's massive. That's massive. We have some few players in this space, like Farm Crowdy and all that. So, but this is a massive space that we can leverage AI when we're talking of agri-tech. Come to fintech, that's also another huge market. Nigeria processes over $700 trillion in global digital transactions annually. Take note of that, $700 trillion, not naira, in the global digital transaction annually. So you can see that that's a massive space. You can talk of AI fraud detection tools, automated compliance, credit scoring, for the unbanked and all that. So these are billion-dollar opportunities, waiting to be built. Coming to the legal tech space, our courts, we have a lot of backlogged, cases, unresolved cases, thousands of them that are unresolved. How about if we have an AI that is trained on Nigeria law that can draft contracts, do legal research? I'm not just talking of ChatGPT now. We're talking of our own product trained on Nigeria law, can do research, make legal services accessible, to millions who can't even afford lawyers, right? You can see the advantage. You can see the advantage and what we are saying here now. So when we come to services, that is another huge opportunity. We have prompt engineering, like we've mentioned, for businesses. Companies are paying around 500K to 2 million monthly for consultants who can create custom AI workflows, who can communicate with AI, because of course you need to be able to know how to communicate with AI to even build AI workflows, right? So this is a great field there. AI integration for small SMEs, that's small and medium businesses in Nigeria. So you can have these skills. We have a lot of businesses that are desperate for AI, but they don't know how to start, where to start from, or how to go about it. They need, someone to bridge that gap, and that is where you can come in, right? How can you connect ChatGPT to their WhatsApp business? How can you, automate their inventory with AI? How can you build customer chatbots that will be taking queries and all that and making sales? These are great opportunity. These are great opportunity. And Nigeria has over 40 million SMEs. So you can see that there's a huge market, a huge market. When you talk of local language AI, this is also a massive space, right? We have about 200 plus million people who think, in Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, Pidgin. Just imagine you have an AI tool now that speaks these languages, right? You have a market, ready-made market already. And this is things that, we are ignoring, but this is a huge space. Just a Pidgin, maybe a chatbot that speaks Pidgin, to market traders, or maybe an AI, maybe a Hausa AI tutor in northern schools, for example. This is a huge market. This is huge market. In fact, a whole lot. If you can build skills in this area, I can tell you the market will look for you. You are not the one to look for the market. Coming to AI training and workshops, these are things that you can also, skills you can build. Businesses now, they are looking for people who are proficient in AI, that can train their staffs, that can show them how to use AI, that can show them how to use AI, and you charge them maybe 100,000 to 500,000 per workshop, and you are teaching them how to use AI. Banks, schools, mention them. You are doing wonders. So that's the beauty of all these opportunities. And the thing is that you can't start when you need to start is today. You don't need fancy degree. You don't need, just knowledge, hustle, execution. That's enough. You don't need any fancy knowledge. So Microsoft's CEO said that AI is going to be bigger than mobile phones. Yes. Africa, we have like 1.5 billion people who need localized AI. So that is a space for us to conquer. Let's move to the next slide quickly, slide 7. I hope we're enjoying this session together as we are seeing the deep truths, right? So opportunity chart, if you look at this opportunity chart, you'll see that, if you look at this is projected from 2024, projected to 2027. If you look at agri-tech, it has a 3.5 billion market potential. Very huge, very huge. And why is this? And this is because 70% of Nigerians engage in agriculture, either at household level or commercial level. And also 30% of this, of the official labor force, their primary employment is agriculture. So it is a huge market. You can see that market, potential of $3.5 billion. That's not a small, value. It's not a small value. So we can have AI-powered crop monitoring, pest disease prevention, yield prediction. All these, and they are not just things that are nice to have. They are requirement. They are essential. Building a skill here in this area would mean a lot. Healthcare now, we can see have a market potential of 2 billion. You know, and we also, if you according to statistics, tells us that we have 1 doctor for every 5,000 people. So you can see that if you have an AI diagnostics tool that does telemedicine platforms, health chatbots, and all that, this can literally save lives and make money. Talk of education, AI, edutech. We've talked about this. In fact, UNICEF, they released a report that about 28 million Nigerian students, they lack access to digital skills. I saw this statistic somewhere on LinkedIn a few days ago. I saw this, I was like, God, this is a massive, massive opportunity. Massive. When I mean massive, right? You can imagine 28 million Nigerians, they lack access to digital skills. So how about you create this digital skill and bring it to the market? You can see that that is massive. Have personalized AI tutors that can transform learning while creating massive, you know, business opportunities, AI tools for teachers and administrators. That's another game changer, right? Training and support can be delivered to schools, and they pay you for that. They pay you for that. Let's move to the next slide. Now we have seen where the money lies, right? Let's now go to the next slide and have a plan, right? Now we're going to give us a plan, a 90-day transformation plan. Let's see how we can look at it. So now we're going practically, okay, how can I start? How can I start? Now we've mentioned you've known where the money is, you've known where the impact is and all that. Let's see our 90-day transformation plan. So I want you to pay keen attention to this. Yeah, you might be asking, oh yeah, beautiful, we have heard a lot about AI. How can we start? This is your starting point. This will show you the exact step you need to take. 90 days transformation plan, right? In your first month, 0 to 30 days, that's your foundation. You can see that from the chart there. Your first month, that's your foundation. And these are the things you need to do there here in this your first month. You learn prompt engineering, right? Learn prompt engineering, master ChatGPT, master all these generative AI tools like Cloud, Gemini, Copilot, and the rest. Learn prompt engineering. Look for where they offer prompt engineering. In fact, in my academy, we even offer prompt engineering. You can learn prompt engineering, a lot of other courses, you know, Coursera, Udemy, and all that. They offer these skills. This, you can learn it, right? So that should be your starting point in this your first month. The second thing you should do in this your first month, you take free and paid courses. Yeah, I said free and paid because you need to invest in your future. You need to invest in your future. Some things don't come free all the time. You know, you need to invest heavily in your future. We have a lot of free courses. Yeah, that's beautiful. So, AI for Everyone by Andrew, Coursera, Google AI Essentials, and all these are free courses, but still yet, once you've taken those few free courses, you need to also dig deeper. Go to the extent of investing in your future, even if it means you spending. It's very, very essential. After that, you have to start practicing. Use AI for your current job, right? Whatever current job you are doing, you use AI for it. Are you an educator? Try and use AI. See how you can use AI in your job. Are you into healthcare? Try and see how you can use AI. Whatever it is, use AI in your current job. How can AI help you automate a task? So your goal in this stage is to replace 20% of your tasks with AI. Yes, that should be your goal for this 1 month. How can you replace 20% of your tasks with AI? Of course, it's your job. You know the pain points. You know the things that have been stressing you out. You know the things that you have been spending countless hours and, you know, so you finish and you're having headache. Think of the way you can use AI to help you to automate that process. And once you've done that, you know, you are already on the path. So by month 2, that's the 30 to 31 to 60. This is your building stage, right? This is where most people fail. They learn, but they never build. We have a lot of that. You see people, they learn, they go for training, they attend workshop, webinar, and all that. But after the webinar ends, that is it. They don't build, they don't proceed to learn, they don't, you know, develop themselves, they don't go further, they don't push further, they just stop there and the knowledge evaporates. So this stage should be the building stage. Learn API integration as a developer. This for developers now. Learn API integration, very key skill to learn in the AI era, right? we have OpenAI, you have the OpenAI API, we have Gemini API, you know, and all that. So as a developer, I encourage you learn API integration. Very, very important if you want to be able to integrate AI into different tools and automate workflows. So how about if you are not a developer? Yes, learn automation with no-code AI tools to automate tasks and workflow for either individuals or business. We have a lot of them. We have N8N, we have Zapier, we have Make. These are tools that you don't have to write code, but you can use them to automate processes. You can use them to automate things, make work automated for businesses or even individuals. Automate, when I say automation, real automation, right? Learn these tools. If you are not a developer, you don't know how to code, we have this automation, no-code automation tools. I've mentioned them, N8N, Zapier, Make. If you can note them down, learn them. Another thing you should do in this month too is to build one small project, either a workflow automation, a WhatsApp chatbot for a local business, whatever it is. Just ensure you build one small project, right? Build one small project with AI. After that, you study one domain deeply. You know, you're not everywhere, right? You're not trying to do this today, trying to do this tomorrow, and all. No, study one domain very deeply. Choose one, either education or health or agri or fintech, whatever it is. You choose a domain and master that domain. Your goal here now is to create one AI-powered solution. Remember, it's a building stage month. So your goal is to create one AI-powered solution. So the third phase now, which is phase 3, day 61 to 90, this is the innovation launch. Of course, when you build, you will want to launch. You have to package your solution, right? Package your solution, offer AI services, you know, on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever it is. Offer these services, right? Tell them what you do. You can also apply to maybe 10 AI jobs. We have a lot of them online. In fact, a lot of them. These jobs, AI roles and all, they're increasing day by day. So just imagine you can apply for a lot of them. You can also pitch to 10 clients or more, right? These are clients who are interested in this service. Pitch to them and they might like your idea. Join AI communities, you know, and, you know, build, keep on learning. And your goal in this stage is to land your first 50K to 100K project. Yes. You're just starting. So as you're starting, it can be massive. Even if it's 50K you land at the first, that's something. You are growing, right? You're growing. If it's 100K you land, that's something. You're growing. Just imagine, you know, few persons pay, you know, 20K, 30K, you know, and multiply that. It has a multiplication effect. So it doesn't, you don't even start thinking, how can I land my first $1 million? And no. Just start small. Keep on growing. It can be 50K, 100K, whatever it is, but you are building. And by the time you get a lot of people to use that project, multiply that amount, you'll see it's a huge amount. So the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Yes, now. The second best time is now. So this is your 90 days transformation plan. That's all you need to completely transform this, your trajectory. This is all you need to completely transform your trajectory. So if you can imbibe this, I can tell you, you know, it will change a whole lot. You know, especially with the era of AI, you know, it's very easy for you to learn. It's very easy for you to build. So 3 months is what you need to dedicate yourself, right? If you have to lock up yourself and build, think, plan, deep learning, build, you know, for 3 months. Even if you are maybe working full time, you can plan yourself, you know, 1 hour every day, 2 hours every day. That's not, you know, too much out of your 24 hours to prepare for your future, right? That's not too much for you to prepare for. Even a working full-time job is not an excuse. You can set aside 1 hour, 2 hours to learn and do something every day. By the time you are done, you will become a boss of yourself, right? Let's move to the next slide quickly and look at how to break into AI from any background. How can you break into AI from any background? You might be saying, oh, I don't have a computer science degree. I'm not a developer. I didn't study computer science. I'm a writer, marketer, teacher, accountant. AI is not for me and all that. But I can tell you that myself, it will shock you to know that I did not study computer science, right? I did not, or any related course. I didn't. What I studied was banking and finance and business management. But today, by the grace of God and through personal development, you know, I build innovative tech solutions for companies, businesses, individuals. You know, I also teach tech you know, I'm a tech educator. I coach people, mentor them on AI and all that. That's because, you know, of the passion and the quest for personal development. So no matter your background at all, it doesn't matter. You can still key into this AI we're talking about. So you don't need a PhD, you don't need years of coding experience, you don't need expensive certification. These are good. These are good. If you have them, or if you are planning on having them, that's fine. That's fine. These are good. But what we're trying to say is that you don't need this to key into AI. You don't even need to move abroad, right? To even key into AI. The opportunity is right there with you, right there with you. So curiosity, you need curiosity. You need tenacity. Your existing expertise, how can you grow it? Willingness to learn. Like I said, every 1 hour daily or 2 hours daily, dedicate for learning. Dedicate for learning. Some of us, we sleep too much. And this is the bitter truth. Yes. Some of us, we sleep too much. The time that you have combined sleeping, if you multiply that number of hours, the level that you are today, you understand, you would be surprised. So these are painful truths we need to tell ourselves, because we are looking for this survival strategy. We're here to, tell you the truth and tell you what you can do, to become, a dawn in this AI space. You have to study, you have to learn, you have to build, have a building mindset. Like Julius told us, you have to build, have a building mindset, ship project, don't just consume content, right? Watch 5 hours of videos, watch 2 hours of videos, watch 1 hour of video, 30 minutes of tutorial videos. But after that, do you go ahead to build? You have to build, right? You have to build. If you're a marketer, if you look at this table now, marketer or writer, your area, you can become an AI content strategist. Your first project, you can automate social media content generation and all that. If you're an accountant, of course, these are different backgrounds now we're looking at and how AI can assist you. If you're an accountant, AI financial analyst is your AI part. You can build things like expense prediction tools and all that. If you're a teacher, of course, AI education designer, that's your part. You can create personalized learning chatbot, like I said, personalized assignments and all that, things that can assist you in your education, things that can assist you in your teaching, things that can assist you in what you do. Are you a salesperson? AI parts, to this is so you can leverage solutions, consultant, automate lead qualification, watch how your commissions will explode. So are you a designer? That's it, the AI enhanced designer using Midjourney, Figma, rapid prototyping and all this. So all these are massive space, regardless of whatever domain. We can't mention all the whole domains on this slide. There won't be space for it. But regardless of your domain, you can integrate AI. In fact, you can even go ahead and even ask, large language generative AI tools, okay, this is my domain. How can I integrate AI into my domain? It will give you a list of suggestions. So rather than you sitting down cracking your head, how can I integrate? Okay, my domain is this. How can I integrate AI? Go to ChatGPT, go to some of these tools, ask question. It will give you the answer. It will tell you, okay, this is this, and this is how you can integrate AI. And you start from there, right? You start from there. We need people who can understand both the technology and the problem, right? If we have people who can understand the technology and the problem, already that is a hot cake. Learning is not just enough, but how to solve problems. That is what we require. So let's move to the next slide quickly. Let's move to the next slide and let's look at the final words, the moment of truth. So let's paint two pictures for us here now. 5 years from now, scenario A, you are still doing the same thing, watching AI replace others, earning the same or less, wondering what if I had started when I had that presentation. That's scenario A, right? Those who don't take action. Scenario B, of course, you can see it now. You are earning 3K more, working on existing projects, helping Nigerian businesses transform. You're living your best life, traveling comfortable, living fulfilled and all that. So if you look at these two, what's the difference between these two scenarios? Is that 90 days? 90 days of focused action, 90 days of deep learning. Take note of that word, deep, not shallow, deep learning, 90 days of deep learning. The future is not something that we enter, it's something we create. It's something we create. One of the speakers, quoted this. It's something we create. It's not something we just enter. We have to create it. You are looking for a pleasant future, you create it. You are looking for a self-employed future, you create it. You are looking for an independent future, you create it, right? It's not something we enter magically. It's something that you have to create. So I'll leave you with these three truths. Number one, AI won't steal your job, but someone who is using AI will. So it's time for you to key into AI. so you will not be left behind. Number two, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. Number three, you don't need permission. You don't need perfection. What you need is action. Yes. I see that again. You don't need permission. You don't need perfection. What you need is action. To learn, you need action, not perfection, right? You start from somewhere. You start from somewhere, and what you have, you keep on building. As you keep on building, you become perfect. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So you keep on building, 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 and you get better day by day. So what you need is action. The opportunity is here. The resources are there online, YouTube, Udemy, Coursera, and all that. The path is clear. We've given you a pathway, so it's time for you to move. It's time for you to move. What will you do even after this webinar? What will be your next action in the next 24 hours and all that? The decision is yours. So thank you very much for your time and giving me the platform. I hand over to our moderator. Thank you.
Live clap for Daniel. I don't know, your name is also Ada Kole. Is that Yoruba or?
Yeah, that's Idoma, Ada Kole.
Ada Kole, okay.
Yeah.
See, pardon me, I'm quite Afrocentric. Yeah, if somebody has an African or a native name, I prefer
No
to call
problem.
that.
It
I kind of think
happens.
it defines us more than
Yeah, no problem.
the other names. Ada Kole. Ada Kole, thanks so much for the session. That was very inspiring. And something that stood out for me in your session was because you're a banking and finance student. Interestingly, I'm an accounting graduate and chartered
Awesome.
accountant. So we're kind of in the same field. So
Good.
did anyone notice something unique about his session? There was something that he kept mentioning. Who noticed it? And it is tied to his background in finance and business. Who noticed it? Are you still on this call? Numbers, data, no, everybody was talking about numbers and data as testimony. There was something other colleague kept mentioning. The money parts. He kept talking about the money parts. Even did not notice. I was noticing it. Look at all the people that gave statistics. Now they give statistics about the money more than one slide. Talking about the income, like there's real money. I'm talking about act now because there's something in the business world. You see, it's not the best product that gets sold, is the best known product. But another thing that other colleague was highlighting was that is the first person that goes to market that is that gets to sell. Like if you arrive at the market first, you get to sell. My friend and I were discussing AI models, and he's telling me that Gemini is better than ChatGPT. But because ChatGPT launched first, everybody thinks ChatGPT is the go-to person when you have any AI-related question and stuff. So, but that's not really the case. So if you are building anything, build fast, launch fast. As you can see, he gave us these timelines of when things will really switch. So now is the best time to build. Julius has sent me a video that he talked about regarding large language models that you can use to develop AI tools. So I'll share that on the group. Guys, if you're on this call or if you're watching the replay, you have been equipped with all it takes for you to launch, from Bunmi's session to Julius's insight and even the resource he has shared, to the data and pointers that Adakole just shared. Like he's literally pointing you on, if you were ever confused about how to play in this AI field and how to take advantage of AI, because you're hearing it, people are saying that people are making more money with AI, but you missed out on the .com era, you missed out on the social media era. Do not miss out on the artificial intelligence era. I read the book by Al Maktoum of Dubai, his book My Vision. He said one of the things that have made them successful in Dubai is the pioneering spirit, that they like to go first, they like to go fast, and they like to win. So you have everything you need to actually succeed from this session. You have everything you need. Do not sleep on the information that you have received. We particularly did not publicize this very much because we don't want the market saturated for the people we'll be sharing, with whom we'll be sharing these secrets. So you've been given privy to some secrets. Yeah, guys, you know that these things might be easily available on the on the internet for you to search, but not in the curated form that our users our speakers have brought for us. So if you have any questions, just drop in the comment section and just come on, guys. give a round of applause for other colleagues. Like, let's see the claps, let's see the reaction. Thank you, Great Williams. Thank you, Gibbs. Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you, Mary. Really appreciate everyone for joining the call and staying this long. You know, when we began with Clariquity, we thought we would really try to do 1 hour session, but then we realized that no, we want to always have in-depth conversations. Let the speakers come and truly drill down on the topic at hand so that people can get the most value from it. So guys, give Daniel his flowers in the comment section. Thank you, Daniel, for the session. Thank you, Bunmi. Thank you, Julius. This has been very insightful, and I'm sure that those that have joined will benefit from it. And do, because we normally put these replays out on YouTube, for those that will be watching the replay, I'm sure they will also find value. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And before you go, if you are not on the Clariquity WhatsApp group, in case somebody just shared the link with you to register, just scan this QR code and you'll be able to join the Clariquity group. So you will get first-hand information about our future webinars. Another advantage of being in the Clariquity group is that we share some insights there. We do some polls there, some more interesting conversations that we ordinarily do not take it out to the general public. So if you want to join that community and enjoy the exclusive content there, just scan this QR code and join. And you can also follow us on our social media handles. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube. We have a channel on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter. The name is just Clariquity. Our name is unique. So anywhere you go, the name is just the same, Clariquity. Thank you everyone once again for joining. And so is there any question for Adakole? Any questions? Okay. I like to think that his session was just too detailed, like he broke down everything. You shouldn't even have questions. The only thing you should have is what, like just go and start implementing all the things that we've learned. Thank you everyone for joining, and this brings us to the end of the Clariquity November webinar.